Welcome, people of planet Earth and all planets beyond. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Josh, and as you probably know, I buy and sell things from thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets all the time. This video is about all the items that I thought were just simply too cool to sell. Let's get into it. Alright, so normally I would be showing like t-shirts and jackets and, you know, jeans and stuff like that, but most of that stuff I buy, wear for a while, and then end up reselling anyway. There's only a handful of items that like just have a little bit extra value. So most of the stuff is not clothes at all. There are a couple garments here, but mostly not. So let's go ahead and get into the garments really quick. First off, we have this wild looking thing, straight out of 1991, I think, something like that. But it's an R-U-A-T-J Carmen Live in Concert. If you know, you know. Are You Addicted to Jesus? Carmen was this sort of real cheesy Christian artist in the 80s and the 90s. And it just so happened that it was like the first concert I ever went to. Not this particular concert, but maybe the album after this one or whatever. I wasn't super into his music, but it was the first like concert I'd ever really been to in my entire life. And so I found this in the thrift store a couple years ago. It fit me. It's on a Screen Star's Best single stitch, pretty dope tee. And I was like, man, nobody else probably wants this, but I want this. Like, this has just got some sentimental value to me. It reminds me of my childhood. So I picked it up for a couple bucks, and I've worn it. You probably haven't seen me wear it recently, because it was sort of packed away with some of my other stuff. But this is one of my favorite thrifted t-shirts I've ever found. Now next up we have another garment here, and it's this Gap snorkel jacket. A little dusty. But I had a Scott Bros snorkel jacket that I foolishly sold. It may have been not quite my size, so like a little bit too big or something. But and I always wanted another snorkel jacket. It actually had real fur, the Scott Brothers one. But I found this one instead. This is a great jacket. It's a super warm jacket, and like, you know, it's not vintage, but you know, I'm not super brand loyal. Like, it works. It's like a great, you know, second-hand jacket. So definitely thought this one was way too cool and way too warm to just sell on the internet, even though probably could get a few bucks for it. But definitely had more value to me in keeping me warm in these bitter cold Missouri winters. Blah. Now next up are a couple small items that I actually recently got. And it's these two cards right here. This is a Michael Jordan right here and a Wayne Gretzky. I was actually at a flea market, and they were selling a bunch of these packs of, what is it? USA World Cup Upper Deck soccer cards from 1994. And they supposedly had these two cards in them, Wayne Gretzky and a Michael Jordan, even though they don't play soccer at all. But they're honorary captains. It's an insert. They're actually, this one particularly is fairly valuable. And I ripped open the packs. They were $1 each, and pulled this out. And if you know, there used to actually be, I used to do a few like card openings, vintage card openings. Maybe one day I'll actually get a channel like that started. But there are a few videos, if you go far enough back, of me opening vintage cards. So you know that's a hobby that I really enjoy. So it was really cool to find these in the flea market, or the packs that these came in, and got some pretty cool, fairly rare cards that I think are super dope. Alright, next up are a couple of decor items that are just too cool to sell. And one of them is this right here, the Rocktober, Coors Light Rocktoberfest. I just think this is like, first of all, like prime 80s. But you got this like, you know, German fella, Austrian yodeler, shredding on the Striper era looking guitar, with all these ladies like going to prom with Coors Light. This is so cool. This is an original promo piece. I just think this works better in my office than it would in yours. Sorry, this is definitely going to stay with me. Love having cool, like, vintage decor items like this. Now, the next one is actually also a decor item. Found this at a thrift store. I think I paid $5 for it. Paid $5 for it. It may be some sort of authentic piece, but it's hard to say. But it's this right here, one of my all-time favorite movies, The Shining, Stanley Kubrick, a genius with Jack Nicholson. I can't tell. The printing looks like it's much older than a modern reprint. I have not pulled it apart to look on the other side. I'm sort of scared to, but this is one of my all-time favorite thrift finds, period. It was just like sitting in the back of this country thrift store by all of their other like pictures and stuff. I'm sure the old ladies hadn't, well, I mean, they're probably, this is an old movie. I don't know, maybe they recognize it or not, but they put $5 on it. Definitely feel like it's worth more than that. I've never been able to find this exact design anywhere. So it simply could just be some random repro. It could be a super modern repro. It doesn't really matter. One of my favorite movies. Super dope on my wall here at the office. So definitely stoked to have found this piece in the thrift. Alright, so you know that Tommy Hilfiger is one of my favorite brands. So whenever I find some of their dope accessories, it's always fun to pick them up. Here we have this duffel bag that I use personally to carry around my stuff. Love it. Has the where'd the strap go? Right here. Has a spell out strap. Like, I love finding this stuff because like I could sell it. I could probably make $25 from it, but it's so much more useful to me to pack my clothes for a trip or whatever in this and rep one of my favorite brands than it is to like, you know, just get a boring old suitcase. So love having this stuff. This is one of the cool things. I think it's just too cool. It's just not worth, like, it's just not worth $25. It's much more valuable to me and for my use. All right, now next, some of you know that I'm a musician. I'm in a band, play guitar, do the vocals, stuff like that. Band's called By Cloud and Fire. We've never played a show, but we've released an full-length album, and a full-length album, or at least pretty close to a full-length album, is on its way out here in the next month or so. But I am a musician, and I love having instruments around. In fact, if you look around, I mean, there's a MIDI keyboard, there's guitar pedals, my guitar is right over there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. But the other couple weeks ago, I found this item, and I just thought, this is just too cool to sell. This has definitely got to stay with me. Now, my band doesn't use a glockenspiel very often, but I mean, that sounds great. Picked it up for $20. And doesn't that sound beautiful? So I love having instruments around, especially vintage ones. This is a vintage, I think from the 50s. It does have its one little horn broken here, but the maker's mark is a WFL Drum Co. Chicago, Illinois. I think this is like between the 50s and the 70s. I don't know. Not my expertise, but I do love the sound. Now, if I join like a band like Sufjan Stevens or Sigur Rós, I think this would come in handy. Otherwise, I might just, you know, make all of my YouTube music with this thing. What do you think? Now again, I do buy lots of t-shirts, jeans, and shoes. Pretty much my entire wardrobe is either thrifted or secondhand. And I keep them, those are cool, but I could find them elsewhere. I could keep looking, and they're not that valuable to me, relatively speaking. This last item on this list, if you've been paying attention, I just got it recently, you know, this is my all-time favorite, coolest item that I could not sell ever. And it's this guy right here. Yes, I'm talking about my vintage Levi's 501 neon sign again. Get over it. You'll be alright. This is definitely my all-time favorite. Picked it up at a flea market that I was visiting and saw it in the window. Had to have it, obviously. And it's been in my office ever since. It'll eventually be a part of a new set that we'll eventually design here. But this is definitely my favorite all time. Definitely gonna have to work pretty flippin' hard to top that. Now, as I was filming this, I realized one of the items I didn't mention, and that's my Spurs hats. In fact, I think all but one of my Spurs hats that you see in any of my videos have been thrifted. Once I find them, they stay in my collection forever. Not gonna sell. The Spurs are my team. I would never give up a Spurs hat that I found in the thrift, and that's why I've started to accumulate them. They're not super easy to find. I find maybe one a year, maybe one or two a year, but when I find them, they're definitely off limits for selling. Now, let me know in the comments below, what are your items that you have found in the thrift store that were too cool to sell and that you kept for yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, we thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.